Hi everyone, we're back for method number 3, video number 3, week number 3. I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about method number 3, which is clean eating. This one actually means the most to me because it was the first one I started practicing when I was trying to build myself back up after leaving therapy and stopping the antidepressants. So I had a pretty bad diet for years and years. I never paid attention to what was in my food. I would buy literally anything. And a huge problem of mine was portion control. I just didn't do it. My portions were outrageous. And I was a huge meat eater. I would have burgers constantly because burgers were my favorite food and I miss them dearly. Because I believe it was a little over a year ago, I stopped eating meat. So I'm sort of a pescatarian because I still eat fish. So I took out meat from my diet completely. And once I did that, I noticed a lot of changes in my body. It cleared my skin for the most part. And I just felt more energetic because, like I said, I was eating cheeseburgers and, again, not good quality. I'm not saying you should swear off meat forever because everybody has their own way of eating, and I'm not going to get into the whole meat or no meat debate right now. And so in this whole process, I've learned about, what food is good for you, what food isn't. So now for about 2 years, I've been paying attention to organic foods, only trying. I know organic foods can be pretty expensive, but really trying to lean towards organic foods when buying whatever, and also paying attention to labels, which, let me tell you, is the most annoying thing that you will ever do, is going to the grocery store and I literally check the ingredients on everything I buy. Everything. And it's so annoying because you're always gonna find something that you literally can't pronounce. And most of the time that means it's not good for your body. I spend a lot of time at the grocery store nowadays because I'm literally checking, what's in my food. And I wasn't doing that before. So that was a huge change for me. And I truly believe that my eating habits back then was a big contributor to how bad my mental health was. And I know that's a big concept, and I know a lot of people don't believe in that, and that's okay because, everyone has their own beliefs, and sometimes when you have a fixed mindset, which the majority of the population does have a fixed mindset, you're not able to grasp those concepts because you don't want to think that food directly affects mental health. But the truth is, it does. So basically the idea is that the standard American diet is directly linked to negative mental health. And I know there's many factors and there's many loopholes, and I understand that, but overall, the standard American diet, the way we eat today, it's horrible, first of all. It's awful. And the stuff that they're selling at grocery stores is awful. And it scares me that I was never aware of this, a few years ago when I was younger, growing up. When my body was developing, my parents weren't aware of the toxic foods they were feeding us. And that's the thing, they're not labeled as, I'm a toxic food. It's hidden in plain sight. And it's a difficult thing to wrap your head around, and it's kind of like, it blows your mind because you're like, okay, for my whole childhood and for my whole life, I've been feeding my body these toxic things, and it's messing with my body chemistry and then, affecting my mental health. And I truly believe 100% that that was a huge factor in my life for a long time. And so everyone's heard food is fuel. So if you're eating bad quality food and eating, fast food every day, guess how it's going to fuel your body? Not in a great way. You're gonna feel sluggish, you're gonna feel tired, you're gonna feel like you have no energy, and you're gonna gain weight, most likely. And even if you don't gain weight, some people's bodies are very different. It'll affect other areas of your body and your mind, and you might notice that you're starting to feel a little more depressed these days because you've been eating fast food so much, or you might feel like you're pretty anxious these days. Well, look back on what you ate in the past few days. You know, if it was bad quality, it might be affecting how you feel. And that's, again, like I said, a huge, crazy concept to wrap your mind around, but really think about it. Really think about it, because it'll start to make sense to you. And I'm honestly living proof of this whole crazy idea, because of course there were a lot of things that helped me get better after my mental illness was diagnosed. You know, I went to therapy and all that stuff, but thinking of how I eat now versus how I ate for my whole life up until 2 years ago, they were completely different. And how I feel now versus back then, completely different. And so for me, that says, you know, that's enough for me to believe this. And so now, great, I understand that diet directly affects my body and how I feel and how I act. And so I want to make a change. What's my first step? I gave you some information. I maybe dropped a truth bomb on you that food is directly linked to mental health. Maybe you still don't believe that. That's okay. You don't have to keep watching this video. It's totally fine. And you don't have to believe it either. But for the people who do and the people who want to change the way they eat, I have another outside source, as I'm trying to do for all of these videos, because of course I have all of this information, and what I mostly have is experience with all of these things, but I also want to push you guys towards someone who does this sort of thing for a living and has more knowledge on the subject. And so for this video, I had help from Patrick, who's a teacher, and he's very knowledgeable in clean eating, and he's had a lot of experience with it. And so he gave me a lot of amazing information, which is soon going to be a blog post, so stay tuned. We did a little interview, but I'm going to give you guys all of his information below. So your next steps will be contacting Patrick. And I'll give you a little idea of what that's going to look like. Patrick gave me some information on, you know, how do I start? And so he says to start with simple and small changes. It sort of looks like week 1, you should substitute quality oils for cooking. So if you're using vegetable oil or canola oil or stuff like that for cooking, maybe you want to swap it for organic olive oil or avocado oil, you know, healthy fats. And so that's one thing, and I know it doesn't sound like a lot. I'm kind of going off of what he said. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I promise you that these little changes, if you do one at a time, it's going to be much easier to transition into complete clean eating. So I think this is really smart to do 1 week at a time. You know, just change what oils you're using. Now the second week, add in vegetables to every meal. Third week, limit processed carbs, and so on and so on. And so that's sort of an idea of where you should go next. Definitely reach out to Patrick. And even if you have questions that you want to ask me, that would be awesome. I love connecting with you guys. It's kind of weird just talking to a screen, but I am so grateful that I have a platform, many platforms, to share this information with you guys, because if you had told me a few years ago that food affects your mental health, I would have called you crazy. But, you know, through experience and knowledge and trial and error and results, I know that this is the truth for myself and for everyone. But like I said, some people aren't ready for that yet. And so I hope I can reach some people with this information and with these truth bombs. And I'm not sugarcoating anything. I'm not telling you the journey to healthy mental health is easy. I wouldn't do that, because it's not true. But if you implement these things and you work hard, you will get there. And if you need any extra guidance or help, or you just have questions or just want to talk, I'm here. I want this to be as personal as possible. I want to connect as much as possible. So please, please, please connect, ask questions, message me. You guys have my social media. Yeah, and stay in touch. Next week, we will be here with method number 4. And I'll see you guys then. So stay green and gold. Until next time.